to another episode. Today we've got Jo Meyers from the Swine That Dines, an institution in Leeds. So I'm really excited to hear from Jo a little bit more about her journey and also obviously what gratitude means to her and has meant to her on her journey. If you are new to this, we are Saskia and Lisa. We are the owners of The Biscuitery, an online bakery specializing in branded and bespoke biscuits here in Leeds, and we're especially happy to have another female founder in Leeds with us. And we've just said, why didn't we meet in person? Well, that's just the world we live in now. So welcome, Jo, and would you introduce yourself so we don't say anything that isn't totally.
It's so weird when you say the word, the Swine That Dines, an institution. It's just it's even now, and people say it, and and we have been here a long time, but it's so strange to hear that, because it's not what you start out to do, is it? You just start out to do your own thing, and then here we are 13 years on, and people say that, and you're like, wow, sometimes a bit odd to hear. But anyway, so my name's Jo Meyers, and my husband and I bought a sandwich shop about 13 years ago called The Greedy Pig, and ran it as a sandwich shop, as a cafe. And then 6 years ago we started doing like a supper club, and didn't know what to call it. Asked on Twitter, this is different food, what should we call it? We don't want to call it The Greedy Pig, we want to call it something else. And somebody on Twitter said The Swine That Dines. So we went, yeah, that sounds great for a supper club, let's do that. And now it's what we do all the time. And sometimes I think, why didn't I put more thought into that name? It's great, it sticks in people's mind. But when you meet somebody serious in the industry and they say, what's your restaurant called? And we go,
but why pretend being something that we're not? It's maybe I think it's amazing, because it has that transition of what you used to be, and obviously people who knew The Greedy Pig, they would have been like, this is genius.
Yeah, but I think we're really lucky in that everything that we've done as we've moved along, going from that sandwich shop where we got up, Stuart got up early in the morning to cook bacon. I was not good at getting up in the morning. So going along, and because you came in when you came in, didn't you? Like one of the early, oh my God. And I'm sat where you were sat. Because that's my only superpower. I can remember where people sat when they come in. And that must have been 6-7 years ago or something like that. Yeah. And you were only when did you start out?
We started in 2016, March.
Yeah. So had you started then? I was aware of you.
I think we had started then, but it was it
really
was
early days.
Really early days.
Yeah. And we were like, oh my God.
Yeah. So,
and I remember, I think at the time you also wanted to do like a little radio.
You spoke about a podcast.
I really wanted to do it, but I just like, I tell the truth. I did a trial and I was awful. My brain froze. And my two friends that came to do it with me, I think the problem was I hadn't worked out in my head what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That was it. All I knew is that I wanted to promote women in hospitality. And I hadn't worked out how to do it. So I had two friends came in and they set up all the podcast stuff, and I hadn't put enough thought into it, as so much I do. I just go, right, off, I'm doing this. And planning, not my strong point. And it was really bad. It was really bad. I think if I did it now, if I could find the time, I would definitely put more planning into it. It still pops into my head, because I still think, this is great, because that even now women in hospitality, it's still not they're not there at the front, and it's still all the black and white photographs of the men with their arms folded, being all
Big beard.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not a true representation of what the industry is, and it frustrates me a little bit. And there are women out there, and they are doing things. They're just not to the front, and I wish they were. So it's still there in my head, but I just don't know how I would do it. And so let's just turn the tap on, turn the tap off. But yeah, that's why I like, if somebody asks me to do something like this, I love doing it, because I think more so now, because I'm about to turn 50 this year. I know, don't look it. I know.
I was just about to say it.
But I'm about to turn 50 this year, and I'm just, I'm proud of that. I don't have a problem with 50. I'm proud of who I am now and what I've done, and I'm proud of still doing it at 50. It's not old, but most of it's hospitality. It's a young person's game, just because it's so attritional at times. So when I see an older woman in hospitality, I'm like, yay!
Yeah.
I can't remember what your first question was. What did you...
Just introduce yourself.
What do you would like people to know about you, basically, when they go away today? What do you want them to know about Jo Meyers and the Swine That Dines?
I'm not very good at. I'm so bad at publicizing ourselves. We've got a new website, and I'm trying to write the blurb about, that bit about us that tells everybody about us, and I'm so bad at promoting us. Or I'm not. I can't be bad at promoting us, because look where we are. But I am not great at going, hey, what we do is really good. We're really great, and I think we are really great, and I'm really proud of it, and we've worked really hard, and it doesn't always go to plan, but I think my strength is that if something doesn't go to plan, then I can very quickly go, right, well, that didn't work, so we're going to take that and we're going to go off in this direction. Because when we started, like I say, we were a sandwich shop, and now we're not, and now we get reviews in national papers, and not massive reviews, but we get mentions in national papers, and we're in the Good Food Guide, and that's not bad for what was a pretty grotty little sandwich shop that we took over.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think what's happened in the last year is that I've become more aware of what's happening outside the business. I've realised that it has consumed my life for quite a long time. And I've realised there is a world out there, and I need make more of an effort to get into it and do more. And yeah, I don't know what I want people to know about me.
I've
not thought about that.
So can I just go back to a thing that you said in the beginning when you started talking about yourself and the Swine That Dines, and you said we were quite lucky, really. Do you think you were lucky? Like, is that it? Do people become lucky, or is there more to it?
Did you make your own luck?
I'm a big believer in that you get back what you put out. So I have so many friends, and I've got so many friends that I know from being here, from doing this business, and I think I am a relatively open person, and I think when you meet me, I hope that mostly people see me the first time they meet me with a smile on my face, and I'm welcoming, and I think I'm part of I'm going to say this, and I've struggled to say it. I think part of the success of the Swine, I really want you to come in and have a really good time. I really want you to enjoy it, to enjoy it. And I think if I wasn't doing that, that wouldn't be the Swine that we have now. It wouldn't be as welcome. We wouldn't have so many repeat customers. And so I think that block, that's why I did that. I created a really You know, it's not a slick environment. We're not trying to be slick. We just want to be people to come in, and we want them to leave with a smile on their face. And I do my best for that to happen. And I suppose that's not luck. I suppose that's work, but it's not. It doesn't feel like work because I enjoy what I do. I really love what I do. Yeah.
And you do it authentically. That's the impression I always got, that, you know, who you get there is the real Jo Meyers. You're not putting some sort of mask on or pretending to be something you're not.
I had a lady in a month or so ago, and she as she was leaving, she said to me, she said, "I love you." I said, "I think you're great, because everything you think shows on your face." It was like, oh, I thought I hid it really well, but I do.
I have one of those faces, I've been told.
And then coming back to, because if you know, what you just said says that you are so attached to the business, and that a large part of the identity and the personality of the business is actually you. And then I hear you say that in the last year, you know, you've opened your eyes to the life outside of the business. How scary, or is there like a tension field between you maybe removing yourself a little bit from it and giving space to other things, which means that you might not have as much time physically in the swine? Is that what I'm reading as well? Or?
I think no. We've I think we're happier now than we've been for a long time. The pandemic was horrible, and we saw what we'd built, what we'd worked really hard on, slipping away. And for that year, in fact, actually, during the pandemic, during the lockdown, we had something to do. We did heat at home and stuff, and we had our son at home, and we had extra time with him that we probably wouldn't have got before, and that was okay. And then we came back, and that year was the hardest year we've ever had, and that's when we thought we were going to lose everything, because customers weren't coming back, and really, really, really difficult. And it's that even in lockdown, you could do things. You could do the heat at home. You could do takeaways, and there was always something that we could try and do to get customers. But that year when we reopened again, and there was, you know, there was just days when nobody was coming through the door, and it was so hard. And I thought, this is it. It's going to go. And then we got to the point where we thought, well, if it does, is that the end of the world? And it's not. It's sad, but it's not the end of the world. And we looked at what we had, and Stuart's dad sadly passed away just before Christmas, and you know, and my mum's not well, and you look at the relationships that you've got. My son, I'm so proud of my son. He's gone to university this year, you just look around you, look at what you actually do have, and go, well, do you know what? If it didn't work out, it's not the end of the world. That there's so much else, and that's when we started to look at just doing other things and being other places and getting new experiences. And I think before that, and then once you start doing it, you go, oh well, that wasn't really hard to walk away from the business for a bit, because when you're so consumed by it, then you're just like, you can't envisage walking away or releasing anything, control of anything. And then suddenly when you do, you're like, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. That was okay. And so no, it's not as hard as we still work really hard, but I think we make more use of the time that we're not there, and I think we're enjoying that, and I feel happier than I have done for a long time. Yeah.
That perspective really helps sometimes, doesn't it? To
To
go down the rabbit hole of what is the worst thing, and then to realize, well, we still live in a safe place, and we have a family, and we're healthy, and all these things. And that is basically gratitude, isn't it? For the
I think
basics, but we forget about them in our everyday busyness.
I think that the pandemic was like it was like a reset. There lots of negatives to it. Lot of people, suffered. We fortunately did not. In our past lives, my dad. I think my mom's got dementia, and my dad basically now for 2-3 years has been her carer, and we spend as much time with them as we can, and it's been difficult for him. He's been very lonely because he's very, like myself, a very sociable person. I think I get most of my outgoing traits from him. And he'd always worked, and then suddenly the company that I worked for went into liquidation, and suddenly he was at home all the time, and then he became, basically his world shrank, and he's had a very, very difficult time. And my mum, she's okay. I think we've got a couple of difficult years ahead with her, but it's difficult for him. So we try and spend as much time as we can, but they're good times, and we're enjoying the time that we spend with them. I've started knitting because it's a connection that I've got with my mum. She was always knitting, and she really likes to tell me where I've gone wrong. Which is great.
So can I ask how you turned it around then, when you said it was going, you were worried that you might lose the business, and now you're in a better place? Do you think it has to do with the change of attitude and maybe letting go a little bit? And I don't know if that is connected, or did you do anything business-wise that changed it?
I think we're more focused. I think it allowed us to decide when we came back. We decided previously probably had a bit of a scattergun approach. We were trying to do as much as we can. And I think maybe sometimes the message was confused as to what we actually want. We're much more focused. We're trying to take control of things rather than allowing it to control us. And I think we never quite grasped that before. Previously, it always felt like we were fighting fires, and it's always the case when you've got your own business. You're always going to be doing that to some extent, but I think rather than allowing things to happen, and then we're much more proactive than we were, and learning to say no. Now, I've always said, oh, not frightened of saying no, but in reality, that wasn't the case. In reality, I actually tried to do everything that was asked of me. And now I've realised you never, when you do something you don't want to do, you never do it to anybody's satisfaction. Mm-hmm. And I would rather not do it rather than do it. I don't think I've done anything badly, but I've always come away thinking it's not how I really wanted it to go, And I don't like that feeling. I'd rather go, I want to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it, and plan for it, and then come away, and then maybe go, yeah, well, I could have learned from that, but generally it went how I wanted it to go because I took control of it. So I'm not frightened now, or we're not frightened to go, no, that's not what we do, that's not what we want to do, this is the direction we're going in. So, yeah.
Can I ask, 13-12 years ago when you started, how did you start it? Why did you start it?
Oh, Stuart had been chefing for a long time. His wage not moved, so getting less. It was just as all the cuts were coming in. I worked in social care, and all the cuts were coming in, and I took a 20% pay cut. I'd moved to a company because I could do less hours on the same wage. So I got to spend more time with my son. He didn't have to be in childcare as much. So that's why I purposely made this move to this company. And then within 6 months of being there, they decided, well, they had to, they lost contracts, and they gave us a 20% pay cut. So this is and more responsibility, and not the job that I originally went to. And I loved working in that sector. I found it very rewarding, but it wasn't safe. I felt there was too many cuts, too much agency staff. Who best member of agency staff in the world cannot come into a setting of people with learning disabilities and challenging behaviour. I understand everything. I felt safe. I was taking work home with me. I was too stressed. And we knew we'd always wanted our own. We didn't know, did we want our own pub or our own restaurant? We knew we wanted to do something together, and we knew that Stu wanted to be a chef. And I wanted to bake, but we didn't know what it was. And we were looking at different businesses. And then we saw this, and it was in our price range, so we bought it. There wasn't really much other thought than that. And we thought we'd do, some really good sandwiches and some really nice bakes, and we did some nice coffee, and we thought, this will be all right. This will pay the mortgage. And we lost all the customers that the previous owner had because we changed it so dramatically. And so we went from an okay business to just like losing everybody, to like, oh God, we've got to build up all our customers again, and in hindsight, we should have just started from scratch, just not bought it, just started from scratch. And I sometimes think, were we too scared, not brave enough? But look back on Leeds city centre, 13 years ago, there were no independents. No, nobody had started out by themselves. It was all chains. So maybe 2 or 3 years later, if we'd seen other people do it, would have gone, oh yeah, you can start from scratch, which I know it's not very, very brave. But that's who we were at the time, and we didn't.
I mean, it's still incredibly brave.
Oh, yeah.
You're still taking a huge, huge leap of faith and risk in an area where, you have no real expertise. It reminds me, I don't know if you know Helen Charlton?
Yeah.
Because I think she did the same. I think she bought
Sebby's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in hindsight, she I think I've heard her say as well, don't buy somebody else's business, just start your own. Yeah.
But you don't know. And I mean, I possibly didn't do enough research into who the customers were. And I didn't realise that actually the previous owner, his customers just wanted something cheap, of quality. We came in very much, we're going to do quality. Mm. And we did build up a customer base, so we got there eventually. But that was a really difficult first year trying to
bring experience.
And I remember sitting down, opening up Twitter, going, how does this thing work? I don't understand what this is. And one of the first people I followed was Manjit. Mm. And I saw what she was doing. I'm like, right, okay, don't tell Manjit this. I'm going to copy what she does. What did she do? She looks good. She looks like she knows what she's doing.
So we all do a bit of that, really.
And now you're running TikTok, right?
Oh God, I don't think TikTok needs me. But I do enjoy putting posts out on social media. I do enjoy putting my voice out there and telling little stories, and I don't think, you get loads of these people, social media managing marketing companies, and I don't think I'd hand over my voice to anybody else, because I think the business is very personal, and I get people coming in, and I put a post out. I'm doing a caramel pudding at the moment, and I put a post out, and I talked about how when I was younger, my favorite dessert was, sorry about this, Angel Delight. And this caramel pudding is sort of like evocative of this. And then that weekend, the amount of people that came to talk to me about Angel Delight, but not Angel Delight, about the teas that they had and the bowls. My mum had Angel Delight bowls. So they're suddenly talking about how your family are having these, and it's a way of, when I put a post out like that, it's people come in, they read them, and then come in, and then we have a conversation about it, and it's just really nice. It's and I would never hand that over to anybody. I realize you can get people to do post at times and everything, but I like putting that out, and I like the conversation it brings back.
Yeah, it's connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
An extension of what you do in the swine. Yes.
We reached people in last night, and she said, "Oh, I've been following you for ages." It's like, and I get messages from people that I've never been in, and you just like, eventually, I'm going to do that one post that's going to bring them in. I'll get you in the end.
Definitely.
And I guess your journey has also shown that things are not instant. Sometimes it takes years to refine what you actually do, what you stand for, what makes you different, and finding your own customer base and all of that takes time and effort, and it might at times seem like it's not gonna work, and then 13 years later you have a beautiful thing, and it was all those steps were worth doing and experiencing.
I think with the business now, we're very clear on who we are. That took that period, that when we thought we thought we were going to lose everything, and it took that what are we, what do we want to do, and we realized that we'd still, after all that time, we're still trying to work out what people wanted rather than what we want to do. And you can't please everybody. You can't. And now I'm very proud of it now, and we're fully aware we have to be for everybody. We've got sleep, but we're much more confident, and we're much more sure of ourselves. And I think, but I think also individuals are much more confident and sure. To work out who I am. But yeah, we're happy. We're in a good place, and we're happy with what we're offering, and we're not trying to please other people. You've got confidence to realize that if we like it, we can't be the only people that like it.
Yeah.
100%.
You talk a lot, obviously, for you and your husband, and so I know we might be running over time a little bit, but I'm really curious to know your answer on this one. But I know Lisa and me were friends. We were, borderline friends before we started, because we didn't know each other that well. But we became friends in the process. And a lot of people always say, oh, don't start a business with friends or family. You obviously started a business with your husband. How has that experience been?
fine. No, I mean, very different personalities. It takes a lot for Stuart to get wound up. He's pretty placid. I am all over the place. I'm like, let's do this, and he's like, no. I'm like, yes, do this. I'm like, no. So we kind of work well in that. Sometimes I feel like I am pushing him up a hill, but if he wasn't there, sort of taking it more steady, I would be off, and I need him to pull me back. We're just really, I know it sounds cheesy, we're just really good friends. We can he doesn't go, we don't argue. We might, I don't know if we do, it's over really quickly, and we also apologize to each other. I think that's massive. Going, I was wrong there and I was out of order, and I think sometimes that's all the other person needs to hear. It's never really been an issue for us, and also we have other things that we do from each other. So I have friends that, they are. I have a couple of friends that they're my friends that I go out and go away with and do things with, and he likes to go to the gym by himself with his headphones on. And I think that's important. That's always been the case, but I think it's also because we've always worked shift work where in the early days when we had time together, it was really precious because of the shift pattern that we worked, and they weren't. And then starting the business together was about being together with our son. That's what it was. It wasn't necessarily about. There was the two drivers. One was the fact that we'd both taken substantial pay cuts, and any money that we had was getting less and less, and we had to make a decision about do something with this now or it's gone. This is we have now. So there was that, and then the other driver was we were just not spending enough time together as a family. We were with our son all the time. One of us was always with him, but we weren't together as a unit, and I found that really difficult. I wanted us all to be together. So those were the two main drivers of doing this. And working together has never been, I joke about it, but it's never really been that much of an issue. I'm assuming it's not that much of an issue for you because you're still together doing this. So sometimes it works, Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. It's the characters that have to match.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he's a nurse at times.
Oh, he's not Angel.
No. I obviously am. Yeah.
Yeah, got that.
We've been together now for 25 years, and we just get on. I think it's just knowing when we don't live in each other's pocket. We're together a lot, but we do go off and do other things and have different interests. But we also have our things that we do together. And I was concerned when my son went to this year. I thought, are we going to be able to, without him, when he goes, what be okay? We have that. But yeah, still together, We're going on holiday in June, and this will be the first time that we'll have been away together without either my son or my parents, and just the two of us for like 10 days. That will be the test. So here we've got divorced in July.
We know why.
No, you're probably going to announce you're going to remarry.
Yeah.
Express your love one more time.
On the Maldives, like Jamie Oliver.
And this time we'll also be invited.
We'll make your wedding famous.
So, we'll see.
I love it. Oh, I should probably.
Yeah, we always ask this one final question is if you could name anybody in this entire world who you can pinpoint, you know, a decent level of gratitude to, who would that person be?
I'm this probably my dad. I think I get all my values from my dad. I bet everybody says their mum or their dad. Yeah, I get my values from my dad. I get my work ethic from my dad. He's the person that if something, the one I want to tell something to, you know, does drive me nuts at times, but I think I probably drive him a bit nuts as well. But I think who I am is down to him. I saw him, he had his own business. I saw him work really hard, and he unfortunately that didn't last, and he went through bankruptcy and he lost his house. And I saw how he dealt with that, but I saw the care that he took over his employees, making sure that everybody was okay. There was an issue with the anyway. He has a really strong social conscience. He just cares about people, and yeah, probably my dad. I probably owe more to who I am to him.
Sounds like a great man.
Yeah, especially in.
He's also an arse at times.
Maybe that comes with it.
Exactly.
These great men have to be arses at some point. Well, we would love to send him a biscuit on your behalf, if that's okay.
Oh, do you know what? He would love that. But also, he's going to. He never, before the pandemic, never did any cooking or he did cleaning, but he never did any cooking or anything. And of course, now my mum's ill, he started baking at the beginning of the pandemic just to keep himself. Now, oh my God, it's like he does all the baking, he does all the cooking and everything. He goes to play golf and he turns up with like banana loaves and shortbread for everybody. But he would love that, and I would love that. That would be lovely. I mean, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and for sharing your story. It's nice to see a little glimpse behind the scenes.
Thank you so much.
No, it's good. It's good.
Your faces again.